ഹലോ, കേൾക്കുന്നുണ്ടോ ഞാൻ പറയുന്നത്?
യെസ് സർ, കേൾക്കാം.
കേൾക്കാം. ഞാൻ പറയുന്നത് കേൾക്കുന്നുണ്ടല്ലോ?
കേൾക്കാം. ശ്രദ്ധിക്കുക.
കേൾക്കുന്നുണ്ട് ടീച്ചർ. ടീച്ചർ കേൾക്കുന്നുണ്ട്.
കേൾക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. ഫൈൻ ഫൈൻ. മാഡം കേൾക്കുന്നുണ്ട്.
താങ്ക്സ് ക്രിസ്റ്റബല.
സലീം സാർ ജോയിൻ ചെയ്തു അല്ലേ ടീച്ചർ?
ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ട് സർ, ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ട്.
ടീച്ചർ അജയ്കുമാർ സാർ ജോയിൻ ചെയ്തോ?
ആ,
അജയ്കുമാർ സാർ ജോയിൻ ചെയ്തോ? PVC അറിയാമോ? ഹലോ സർ. സർ, നമുക്ക് തുടങ്ങാമോ? അങ്ങനെയാണെങ്കിൽ കുറച്ച് പേര് ഇനി സ്റ്റുഡൻസ് ജോയിൻ ചെയ്യാനുണ്ട് എന്നാണ് എൻ്റെ ഒരു
വരട്ടെ.
ലാപ്പിന് എടുത്തോണ്ട് വരുമോ?
I think we can start. We can wait. People will be joining. Otherwise.
So shall I begin?
Yeah, if students are here. Is the chair here?
Yes, ma'am. Another ma'am is there. Ma'am.
Okay, then we can, you ask her and then we'll start. That will be the best way. Because already Honorable Pro Vice Chancellor is here. So let us start now. I think that would be the best. So we need not to wait for. Okay, so Sharon, can you please
Yes,
the program?
Yes. Distinguished guests and esteemed participants, good evening to all. Before moving on to the valedictory session, let us have a bird view on our technical sessions. There were 4 technical sessions. There were papers that emphasized how the women on the ground acted as leaders during the pandemic, pointing out the grassroots level workers and participation of women in companies, board, and their share since the inception. Changes in corporate law 2013 was also discussed. Then gender disparity in utilization pattern of time in Kerala has also been looked upon. And another work narrowed down on pure employment, laying emphasis on trans women workers in Kochi Metro. And the technical sessions came to an end with a study on domestic workers in Kerala during the pandemic. So officially, we are moving on to the valedictory session. I would like to invite Aditya Krishnan from 2nd MA Economics to give out the welcome speech. Aditya, please.
Thank you. So, a very good evening to one and all, respected dignitaries and all my dear friends. I would like to invite all of you to the valedictory session of the two-day international webinar titled Women and Development, organized by the Department of Economics, University of Kerala campus. So first, I would like to invite Dr. Anita V, Professor and Head, Department of Economics, to chair the session. Welcome, ma'am. Now, as part of the valedictory session, we have here Professor Dr. P.P. Ajay Kumar, under whose patron we have conducted the whole seminar successfully. So, I would like to invite Professor Dr. P.P. Ajay Kumar, the Honorable Pro Vice Chancellor of the University of Kerala, Kariyvattam campus, to this session. Welcome, sir. As part of the webinar, we are actually conducting, and we have actually decided to honor Professor Dr. Abdul Salim, the former HOD of our department, who is hanging up his boot after his excellent service of a career spanning 3 decades. So I would like to invite Professor Dr. Abdul Salim sir to this session. Welcome, sir. And as part of the seminar, we will be having a talk from all the other guests, including that from the organizing secretary, Siddiq sir, as well as part of the other, and the vote of thanks will be delivered by Parvati. So I invite all the respected dignitaries and my dear friends to the session. Thank you. And now I would like to invite Professor Dr. Anita V to carry on with the proceedings. Thank you.
Thank you. Respected Pro Vice Chancellor, Professor P.P. Ajay Kumar, Professor Abdul Salim, the senior most professor of the department, Mr. Siddiqa, the organizer of the seminar, Aditya Krishnan, Darren and Sam, my dear colleagues, distinguished delegates, and dear students. A very good afternoon to one and all. So now we move to the valedictory session of the two-day international seminar on women and development, organized by Mr. Siddiqa, faculty of the Department of Economics. During the last 2 days, as mentioned by Sharon, there were 4 technical sessions covering 6 talks. It is clear from all the presentations that across the world, women experiencing multifaceted issues, and we need concerted and continuous efforts to integrate women in the development process. This is the 4th consecutive year Mr. Siddiq is organizing this program, even though he is busy with other responsibility like Director of Student Service and Inter-University Center for Alternative Economics. He managed the time to conduct this program, and I extend special thanks for that. There is one more agenda in this valedictory session is to honor Dr. Abdul Salim, professor of the department who is going to retire in April 2021. I have been working with him since he joined in the department in 2013. The alumnus of the department, Professor Salim, made valuable contributions to the department in terms of developing infrastructural facilities, conducted a number of international and national level programs, established the Inter-University Center for Alternative Economics, etc. He knew how to blend the academics and administration with the observation from the ground realities. His writings, lectures, and activities are always a great source of inspiration to us. His recent work on cost of higher education of University of Kerala is one among them. Being associated with the department during the period of 2013 to 2021, I admire it as a golden period for the department as well as academics. I take this opportunity to convey my gratitude and respect to him. With these words, I stop here. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Now we are moving on to the valedictory address and the honoring of Professor Abdul Salim. Ajay Kumar, respected Pro Vice Chancellor of University of Kerala, has more than 30 years of experience spending quality time on teaching, writing, and publishing across disciplines. His academic credentials stem from his expertise in English literature. A person with liberal deeds to the development and evolution of University of Kerala, I humbly welcome our Honorable Pro Vice Chancellor, Dr. P.P. Vijay Kumar, to give out the address. And as Professor Abdul Salim A is soon to retire from the department, he is being honored by the Pro Vice Chancellor. Before that, I would like to give out a brief bio on Professor Abdul Salim A. Professor Abdul Salim A is currently professor and former head of the Department of Economics, University of Kerala. He is also the former director of the Inter-University Center for Alternative Economics of the university. He has taught at Jamia Millia Islamia, New Delhi, and various colleges in Kerala during a span of 3 decades.
Sharon, your mic is mute. Yeah. Please unmute and proceed.
So, was I audible?
Yeah, now you are.
Somewhere?
Yeah.
Where did I lose?
No, you have to speak about his bio. He worked in Jamia Millia.
Okay. Okay, sir. I think somebody muted me.
Okay.
Right. Okay. Sorry for the technical inconvenience. And he has taught at Jamia Millia Islamia, New Delhi, and various colleges in Kerala during a span of 3 decades. He has undertaken several research projects and successively guided many PhD scholars. He has authored 4 books and more than 21 research papers published in referred journals. His books include Educational Development in India and further so many researches on educational areas. His works on educational areas in Kerala are very much known and are recognized among researchers and students. And now it's time to honor our teacher, mentor, guide, and guru, Dr. Professor Abdul Salim A. With all due respect and admiration, I welcome the Pro Vice Chancellor and Professor Abdul Salim A for this event. Thank you. Sir, please.
Okay, thank you very much for the invitation. I think we will have to devise new ways of honoring a professor online. So anyway, I think I can only speak about him and our traditional practice of offering pannada or flowers or honoring him with a memento. That is not possible in the online mode. And first of all, I would like to congratulate the organizers for organizing an international webinar on women and development, which certainly is a very crucial topic, area of study as far as Kerala state is concerned. It is not just limited to Kerala state, but it is crucial in the case of our state because we have witnessed quite a few transitions, sweeping transitions in the role of women in our society during a very short period of time, that is beginning from 18th century to the 21st century. During these two centuries, that is 18th and 19th centuries, there was a very sudden, we can say to a great extent, sudden transition in the status and role of women in our society. I think the Department of Economics should concentrate more on this area because Kerala is one of the interesting topics for economists and historians, political philosophers the world over. And we have also, our university has also started a department for Kerala studies, understanding the importance that is given to Kerala and the political. And we have to develop new projects based on the social and political transition of Kerala, the role of women and how the status of women have transformed considerably in Kerala society and culture has to be studied in detail. So I think this international webinar will become a kind of a pilot project for initiating more such studies in this area. So it is very interesting to say that I have only a very sketchy understanding about this particular topic, but even then we can understand how complex it is. On the one side, in the 18th century, in the early 18th century, our women didn't even have the permission to cover their body. They were not like the women that we see in the paintings of Ravi Verma. Our young scholars may think that the Kerala women were like the women in the paintings of Ravi Verma. That is not true. Ravi Verma painted these pictures modeled on some of the Maharashtra women in the last part of later half of 19th century. So the Kerala women were totally different from what the image that we have in our mind. And from that image, from that reality, they have transformed and slowly they have been admitted to educational institutions. And now they are highly educated to a great extent and started participating in almost all social activities, may not be all activities, but majority of the activities. And now there is a move to introduce more and more women in the political realm as well, beginning from the local bodies to the legislative assembly, even though the number of women in the legislative assembly is still very low. So we find that a lot of transformation took place, still more to come. But I think it is also important to study how the attitude towards women didn't change much, even though even among a Muslim community, women started studying. And that happened only a few years back. That means 10 to 20 years. In the last 20 years, Muslim women, especially in Malabar, they also started entering into higher education institutions. And about 20 years before, that was not the case. When I started my career as a teacher in a college, that was a women's college. And there, Muslim women, girls used to come, used to join for courses. But that college has only arts and science streams. Science streams were not there. So even girls who actually wanted to join for BSc physics or BSc chemistry, they were forced to join this particular college only because this is a women's college, because they were not permitted to join other colleges like SN College, Kannur, where there is co-education. And that was the case just 20, 25 years back. But now things have changed. So there is a lot of progress in the participation of women, but there is little progress in the attitude towards women. And that is a really worrying scene. So we have to study these social issues. And I think the Department of Economics can do a lot in studying these social transitions in a meticulous fashion and come out with the reasons for this complex attitude towards women and how it is changing in our society. Anyway, I think the seminar might have discussed some of these points already, and it will certainly be a kind of stimulant for our researchers to enter into similar areas of research. So I have been entrusted also with the duty of honoring Professor Abdul Salim, who is going to retire soon. I know that Professor Abdul Salim is not in a mood to retire because he still looks very young and he is very energetic, agile, and always active in many activities, multiple activities at one and the same time. Professor Salim was a student of the same department of Economics. He took PhD from the same department. And I knew him even when he was a student here, because at that time also I was working here. So I have seen him on several occasions, most often hurrying with some book or some dissertation or work or similar things. And Professor Salim was the head of the Department of Economics, and since he was trained under very eminent professors, because Department of Economics was well known for very eminent professors, and I had the occasion to be with some of them, because we, the teachers of the university, had a common platform, the teachers organization and all that. And Dr. Salim was also part of it. So he is, I think, one of the members in that very elegant line of teachers who headed the Department of Economics during the past 50 to 60 years. And he had the occasion to be a student of some of them. and Ramayendran sir and Kunyaman sir, to name some of them. They were all teachers of Professor Abdul Salim, and when he became the head of the department, he contributed a lot for the development of the department. Still, I think the department can go a long way, because Trivandrum is a place where we have the CDS, Center for Development Studies, and very eminent teachers and researchers working in the similar fields. We also have the Gulati Institute. So we have the kind of ambience for developing very solid and serious research in this area, in several areas related to economics. So I think the department will in future develop many different areas for fresh research related to economics, because in other countries, unlike India, economics is one of the key areas selected by students after the +2. We here find that most of the students opt for either commerce or medicine or engineering. That is the kind of choice here. But in UK, there is no commerce, it is economics. So commerce also comes under economics. So we understand the importance of economics in the job market as well as in our day-to-day life. So I think the department should now concentrate on developing newer and newer areas of research. And this seminar certainly should provide a kind of leading light to such new areas of research. So Professor Abdul Salim was also head of the Inter-University Center, which contributed a lot in developing research at an inter-university level. And I think he has brought out several reports. Since I am not competent enough to comment on those reports, I am not going into it. But they were all hailed as very good reports on different topics. And the latest report was on university administration and the need for reforms in the university administration. And I think that was also received very well by scholars and administrators of the university. So I think my feeling is that Professor Abdul Salim can still do a lot more in the area of research, and he should concentrate on research, because teachers can never retire, and similar is the case of researchers. They can never retire. One of the professors of history, Professor E. Sridharan, who was working in the School of Distance Education in the Department of History, he published almost all his important books after retirement. His book on historiography was internationally famous. He published a book on Napoleon, a very huge volume on Napoleon. And he also published several small pamphlets, one on Raja Ravivarma and several other topics. All these books were written after retirement. So you can understand the kind of meaninglessness of the word retirement. So there is no retirement actually for a professor and for a researcher. So I think Professor Abdul Salim will understand from the examples that I have cited and the examples that he already knew about his professors, former professors of the department. So I think this is the retirement can be taken as an opportunity to concentrate more on research and writing, because he doesn't have to worry about the kind of timetable and the straight jacket that a formal profession offers. So he is now free after, I think, May. He is retiring in May or March?
April.
April, okay. Yeah. So after April, he will be, I think, free to work on his own. And so I think he will utilize that opportunity very well for contributing a lot more in this area. So everybody knows that a professor matures, I think, by the time he retires at the age of 60 in the university. That is the age of maturity of a professor. So I think very solid and mature contribution can be expected from a person after 60, after the age of 60. So I'm not wishing him a very happy life after retirement. I would like to wish him a very, 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 very busy life. And he should be busy with more research, more writing, more work in the areas that he has already worked. So I wish him all success in his effort to do more work in these areas. So I also thank the organizers for giving me an opportunity to felicitate Professor Abdul Salim and to be part of this valedictory session. Thank you very much and congratulate all of you for organizing this wonderful international webinar. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Can you invite Professor Salim for having his reflection of courses?
I would like to welcome Professor Salim, our dear Salim sir, to reflect on his views. Thank you, sir.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, sir, you are.
Honorable Pro Vice Chancellor, Professor P.P. Ajay Kumar, sir, my dear friend and colleague, Director of the Inter-University Center for Alternative Economics, Mr. Siddiq, our Head of the Department of Economics, Professor Anita, other colleagues in the department, Professor A.K. Prasad, Professor Manju S. Nair, Professor Shrija, and Dr. Christabel, all the participants in the program, respected resource persons, delegates, and my loving students. It's in fact, I extend my sincere thanks to the director of the center, Mr. Siddiq, and also all the members of this the organizing committee for giving a chance like this. In fact, I don't want to be a victim of events like this. As rightly pointed out by our honorable Pro Vice Chancellor Ajay Kumar sir, I don't want to retire at this stage, and for these days I have been trying to retire in the process. So it's simply a retiring process for me. For these days, I am trying to structure the things which I can do after April. In fact, as sir said, I'm confident that I can do a lot on education, a serious research on education. In fact, I want to do something on financing higher education in Kerala, on analyzing the various challenges of higher education in Kerala. and I have a lot of material, and I'm assembling the things which I can to the maximum. After that, I can read everything and journalize everything and write a few books on education, including higher education in Kerala. I don't want to sit idle after April. In fact, I want to do a lot of research. In fact, that is what I like. As Sir rightly pointed out, other than spending some time to supervise certain things, some administration kind of things like that, I want to do research. And even in the midst of lot of engagements as head of the department and also as honorary director of the center, as honorary director of the cost of cultivation scheme, I could work. I could do a lot of research on various aspects of education in Kerala in general and also higher education in particular. So I'm confident that I can do a lot, and with your blessings and also with your assistance, I can. And you see, during the last 5 years, when I was there as the head of the department, as the honorary director of the Inter-University Center for Alternative Economics, we together could do a lot. Mr. Siddiq was with me, and Dr. Anida was with me, and all the other colleagues in the department helped me directly and also indirectly in organizing a lot of events. Say, record number of academic events we organized during the 5-year period of this directorship, and in fact, many events Siddiq coordinated, many events Dr. Anida coordinated. So in fact, I could supervise and facilitate and initiate. They were behind me, with me in doing all the things. It is my duty to extend thanks to my dear friends in the department. In fact, I'm thankful to you all who facilitated all these things. And as a group, we could do a lot. See, in terms of the lectures also, see, we could organize more than 10 national and international events in the name of the Inter-University Center. More than 20 lectures we could organize. We received more than 40 reports based on the important focus areas of the Inter-University Center for Alternative Economics. And see, last month also, I had a detailed discussion with my dear friend, Mr. Siddiq, and we are really in the process of organizing a lot of continuous programs with a view to publish 40 reports in the form of either books or working papers. So that way, we are in the process of uplifting the activities of the center and also the department. And even after May, after April, I think I can contribute to my friends, contribute to the department. We are together always, and we will be together always. So I'm giving you my word that I can help you in getting these things, all these things done. And you know, Siddiq is highly energetic and a man of potential, and he can initiate a lot of things. And we are with you, Mr. Siddiq, in doing all the things sorted out. I hope that in the coming months we can expect more from him. The only thing is that he is short of time, and I requested the university to get relief from the director of the student student center. Then only he can complete his PhD, and then only he can give his potential contribution to the development of the department and also to the university. Sir, please look to this matter and give him relief from the director of the student services. Then in that case, that is going to be a great help for the department. Now, one more thing you see regarding this particular seminar. Last year also, Mr. Siddiq could organize this event. Last year also he organized. So he is very much enthusiastic about this particular subject. And this year also he could organize this. You know, we can in fact realize the importance of the events like this, focusing the women and women development kind of things like that. we should realize that 50% of the human capital is, at least 50% of the human capital in the world is with women and girls, and we should tap it, and we should utilize them. We should bring this this great group in forefront of the whole socio-economic arena. Then only we can uplift our society, the Indian economy forward, and take the Indian economy to the mainstream of the world economy. So it's our primary responsibility to uplift this 50% lot of women in the society and extract the potential in them. Great potential is still there untapped. So we should go on organizing the events to them, as our Honorable Vice Chancellor said. We should take them to the forefront, even in political areas and also in other socio-economic areas. So, sir, I don't want to, I don't like to say more on this particular situation. Still, with your presence, we can meet you again in the university and also in the department. See, during the last week of this month, I think department is going to organize another event on education. And sir, I hope that you will be there in that event also, and we can meet again. And my students, see, they're always, my students are always a pet to me. I like them. I have very close friendship with them. They used to talk personally. They used to talk academically. And I was with them, and I am with them, and I will be with them, even if wherever you go. I remember the people, all my students. Some names I may forget, but they are there in my mind always. So nothing more to say. Siddiq, what should I say?
Thank you, sir.
Thanks a lot. Thanks to sir for this, for the nice words about me. And when I sit in my chair in the room, I pray for my guru, Professor P.R. Gobinathan Nair, who guided me, who gave me, in fact, who gave me a life by supervising my research activities. And in fact, I used to sit in the place where he sat, and I follow him in all respects. I still remember his words. Like that, I also feel that my words and deeds will be remembered. That is sure, because I was always honest. I am honest. I will be honest with the students, with the department, with academics. Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. Thanks, Siddiq. Thanks all the participants and my dear students. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I think, Sharon, I can straightly go to the concluding remarks, right?
Okay, sir. Okay, right.
Sir, in the last 2 days, especially in the last 6 sessions, we in fact had an eventful discussion on different aspects. This is actually ranged from the introductory, in the inaugural lecture of Professor V.P. Mahadevan Pillai, our Honorable Vice Chancellor. He had given an excellent speech and a directive in which we need to in fact understand as well as go ahead, especially in the topic which we are discussing, that is women and development, importance of women in the process, and the importance of women even in the historical context of India, etc. So it was a very interesting inaugural session, and then we had a session by the keynote speech was given by Dr. Meera Velayathan, advisor, Gender Park government of Kerala. She in fact talked about the land rights, and it is not only the land rights in Kerala, but all across the country. She was reflecting on how women are being marginalized, and why even having the secular as well as the religious and customary laws being mooted against the rights of women, and how they are in fact bargaining with this kind of rights, which is very much centered to women's dignity as well as women's role in the society and the development of the society per se. So it was a very interesting session and a very long session. It was very good I think my students might have received a lot of insight from that. After that, we had a very interesting paper by Dr. Nandida. It was on women on board. This was actually, again, many who attended the seminar had, in fact, a quite new insight, especially on women in board, because normally in the firms, firms, especially in the board of directors and all, there are very few women in the heading position. The same is the case with the media. The same is with the case with other institutes. But now, slowly, in the government legislation in 2013, the women board members have started increasing. So she was, in fact, reflecting upon, and then still she said that the in terms of income, their position is much lower than their counterpart, that is their male member, which is a very interesting, very stark finding in that sense. And it was a very good presentation. And later, we had also a presentation on gender disparity, how in the utilization pattern, time utilization pattern was being applied to understand the gender disparity in our own household, especially in India, in Kerala, which was a case study done by Anjana BS and Professor Prasad Eke, and this is her PhD work. In fact, it was a very insightful and a realistic understanding to see that how the issue which was our Honorable Pro-Vice Chancellor was raised, that is, the perspective of women as well as, the real condition of women is being now in her work, she was trying to understand as well as to unleash in front of all of us. And that was a very interesting paper, and we have to do really a lot of things in this regard. And then we had a discussion, and there is a lot of questions as well as a discussion on the subject. And later we had also another paper which was on the women as a leader. Especially, we know that the people as in the mainstream, especially the contribution of the leaders. But in Bindu Varghese reflection, what we understood is actually what happens and how the women in the grassroots, especially the domestic workers, the Kudumbashree workers, the Asha workers, how they are in fact acted as a leader to make Kerala out of the clutches or the stronghold of the COVID pandemic, and how this women's work is in fact made the state not to slip into a very acute state of COVID pandemic, etc. So it was a quite interesting one, and looked and reflected a completely new picture on the leaders cannot be actually the people who are in the top ladder or top brass, but women leader can be also from the grassroots. So that is what is actually the insight, and we had a very good session on that. And of course, there are many mechanisms as well as new ways in which we can actually through and look into the problem, and that is what I felt many of our students may take up research on that aspect in the coming years. So then we had today in the morning, we had two papers. First one was presented by Pure Labor and Materialities of Infrastructure. Especially this was a narrative, counter narrative of what we have seen about the, especially in the mainstream narrative that, the Kerala Metro was opened for the transgender population. That was one of the very welcoming move because of the intervention of the police department, the commissioner. But at the same time, immediately after a few months or subsequently, these people were being went out from this job. And because of it is again the same thing which our Honorable Pro-Vice Chancellor said, it is the attitude of the employer, in fact, made these people go out of their job, because they have treated, they said the very statement of we cannot treat you better than a women worker. That means that itself says that how pathetic or how low we are treating our women workers in all this sphere. So this kind of an attitude is in fact made these people attrition in the field, and that is in fact a new eye-opening of to see the problem. Even though we say that actually we incorporate, we are ready to open up, but our mind is actually closed. We are only in gesture we are opening, but not actually by our heart we are opening. In that sense, we have to move a long way to materialize the inclusionary process. So that was actually the crux, sum and substance of the argument of Maitri Prasad from New York City University of New York, and Lars Arburg from SOAS, School of Oriental and African Studies, University of London. So this is a very interesting paper, in fact, and of course we had got many insight of many ways to look into this problem, especially when we induct everything in a macroeconomic scale. Things are going to be missed out in a very microscopic sense of, like, the ethnographic reflections are very interesting as well as important as far as this particular reflection is concerned. Therefore, I hope that our student can get more insight to see the problem in a much broader sense than simply aggregating through numbers and based on big numbers. Then only you make averages actually dominates in economics in some in a concrete sense. So now you can even with the 1% or 2% narrative, you can in fact understand the whole set of problem which is actually unleashes in their own domain. So that is one of the lesson I would like to reflect upon, that is came out from the particular lecture. And then the issue of domestic workers across India, that is especially in the metro cities like Delhi, Mumbai and Kochi. This reflection is also try to say that the domestic workers are actually out of job, as well as the stigmatization, their rights being actually ruthlessly taken away because of the unnecessary accusations were being done, etc., in the field of domestic work. And that is in fact quite shocking. Even in Kerala, things are not different. So what these are actually gives us that the situation of women in the country, in the state, though we cherish that we are far ahead of others, but still our position, our women's condition, or the people in the margin or the marginalized sections of the society is no different to that of the other part of the country. At least in relative sense, you may be relatively better, but in absolute sense, you're not even better. So what I feel is that these are the things, these are the lessons which our students in fact going to benefit, and I hope that there are a lot of work which is going to come out in the near future based on this aspect, and I hope all of our students will work on this aspect. And I'm also very thankful to the department to support me for even for conducting this sort of a seminar. This is, see, when Women in Development seminar I was proposed way back 3 years back, 4 years back we proposed, but in the first year we didn't receive because some other department was actually had the same seminar. So I was not able to get fund from the university, and then the next year onwards I received fund. The last 4 years in that sense I received, and 1 year, the last year we couldn't done the seminar because of the COVID pandemic, and in fact we didn't explore the possibility of an online medium to conduct the seminar last year. If we could have done that, then this seminar may not be actually having a 0 year in that sense. So now every year I wish to actually conduct the seminar on different aspect. This year the focus was actually women in entrepreneurship, women work and entrepreneurship. So in that sense, very few paper, very selected papers only we have selected and discussed. Why? Because we really need to sit and talk about real research, as well as the implications should be understood by the students. And largely I hope that this is going to benefit my students, especially our MA and MPhil PhD students, and by taking coup from the inspirational as well as the possible gap of the different problems which we have discussed. New and as our Honorable Pro Vice Chancellor said, the new vistas of development is actually in different disciplines, and interdisciplinarity is the time of the hour, and we need to actually delve into different aspects of interdisciplinarity, as well as to see that how that is going to be useful for the larger development of the subject as well as for the society. With this, let me conclude and thank Professor P.P. Ajaykumar, Pro Vice Chancellor, University of Kerala, who had consented and readily, participated and gave us a wonderful, valedictory note regarding this thing. So I'm very thankful to you, sir, for your acceptance in that sense. And also Abdul Salim, it was a surprise for him. I haven't actually informed him prior that I am going to honor him in the seminar. Only I told him yesterday that you have been honored in the seminar. So he was actually surprised. He said that I am not actually in the campus, but anyway, he joined. So I'm very thankful, because you had given and inspired us, all of us, in conducting, organizing tirelessly. Your work and energy is very important. So it is quite unlikely if I am not honoring you even at the time, when your formal employment is going to be ceased. It is only a formal employment of the university is going to cease. Otherwise, your work or even your research, nothing is going to stop. And I don't believe that in that sort of an attitude also. So you never retire. So unless you want to be retired. So that is the kind of understanding. So thank you so much for being part of this seminar and your kind words in that sense. And I'm also very thankful to all the head of the department who is, Professor Anida is in fact very instrumental in all this activity right from the beginning, because I asked Professor Anida to organize Women and Development seminar 4 years back, and she said, you should organize. So from that time onwards, the responsibility she in fact assigned to me, that you have to organize and you just make it sure that it is going to happen in every year. So after that, now she's become the head of the department, with the same spirit she is supporting. And all the faculty members, Professor Manju S. Nair, Professor A.K. Prasad, Professor Shija, Professor Christabel, everyone wholeheartedly support all my stupid thoughts, as well as, whatever, which I bring in the department for the development of the department. So all of them are basically supporting me. And I'm very thankful to all of them. And my students are the most important, part of the life, who are, giving me what you can, boundaryless support in every act and activity which I initiate. So I'm also thankful to my students. Now, for the formal vote of thanks, I think I have to invite Parvati, right? Yeah, Parvati.
Sir, excuse me, sir.
Yeah, who is actually going to give the formal?
It's
Darren or Parvati?
Darren and Sam. That's in the brochure. I don't know if they have.
No, Darren. I think Darren has some problem. That's what I don't know.
And nobody has informed.
It's Ria. Who is?
I think it's Parvati, sir.
Parvati. Yeah.
So before that, there is a small announcement. The link to the form has been posted in the chat box. So everybody please fill it in, because the e-certificates will be generated in accordance with the feedback.
Yeah, once you submitted your e-form, then only you'll get a certificate. So please do that and you will get the certificate automatically. So
over to Parvati.
Is Parvati there? Okay.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Good evening, one and all. This is our two-day webinar on women and development organized by Department of Economics. University of Kerala is moving to its end. Here my duty is to convey the vote of thanks for the valedictory section. First of all, I would like to thank Aditya Krishnan from 2nd PG Economics for his welcome speech. Next, I would like to convey our sincere gratitude to our beloved head of the department, Dr. Anida Ma'am, for chairing the session. Next, I would like to thank P.P. Ajaykumar Sir, Pro Vice Chancellor, University of Kerala, for honoring Abdul Salim Sir. We are very much obligated with your presence in the session, sir. Once again, I would like to express our gratitude on behalf of the Department of Economics for your presence, sir. Next, I would like to extend our sincere thanks to Siddiq Rabiat sir for his concluding remarks and your active participation in organizing the seminar. I would also like to extend our thanks to Professor Abdul Salim sir for his presence in the session. Next, I would extend our deep gratitude to those who work behind the scenes to organize and conduct this seminar. This is our chief patron, V.P. Mahadevan Pillai sir, Research Professor and Director, School of Social Sciences, Manju Nair ma'am, Professor and Dean, Faculty of Social Sciences, Srijesh, Professor, Department of Economics, Christabel P.J. ma'am, Associate Professor, Department of Economics, Administrative and Library staff, and PhD, MPhil, and MA students, and all other who participate in the session and they make it a wonderful and successful. Thank you all.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Siddiq.